So tonight for our West Highland Way Race podcast, we've got the great honour of having Pauline Walker. Pauline, as you've just heard in the intro, has just finished her 100th Ultra. So thank you very much, Pauline, for coming to chat to us tonight. And I wanted to start just by asking you to introduce yourself. Now, I'm sure lots of people know all about you, but hopefully there might be some that don't. So if you could just give us a little bit of who you are.
Right, thanks, John. A wee potted history. I would describe myself as a wee fifey wifey who kind of fell into running a good few years ago now, and it's with no major plan to do X, Y, or Z, and I've just I wouldn't say floated into it, but just kind of bimbled along and done surprisingly well out of it. As you said, I've done my 100th Ultra. Again, when I first started running, there was no way that was a plan. Or even, it was only really the last couple of years when the numbers were kind of totting up. And I'm thinking, 100 Ultras, how long is that going to take? And I thought to myself, another 3 or 4 years. But I did cram a few in last year and this year, so managed to finish off the season rather well.
Yeah, excellent. So what attracted you to Ultras in particular?
Well, coming from Rosyth, there was one of the old classic races called the Two Bridges Road Race, and that had been around since the mid-60s. And it was, old guys in string vests and plimsolls and, that kind of thing. And it was 36 miles on the road. A lot of that road didn't have pavements. It was open road with traffic. And they started at the Glen Pitton Creek Park in Dunfermline, went over Kincardine Bridge along the south side of the Forth, back over the Forth Road Bridge, and finished at the Civil Service Club in Rosyth, 36 miles later. And coming from Rosyth, heard about that and had done a few marathons. Fiona's husband Pete had done it. And I thought, I wonder, could I give that a bash? And I did. And then did it again and again. And so that was kind of where I cut my teeth, I suppose, on the road race.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, we've got some great questions on Facebook, so we're going to come to those in a few minutes. But I just wanted to maybe just talk a little bit about the West Highland Way in particular, because obviously this podcast that's the main thing we want to talk about. So your first one was in 1997, which is a long time ago now. Okay, and I just want to get a sense of what it was like in those days. That was because my first one was 2007, so that was another 10 years later. So I'm really intrigued just to get a sense of what it was like entry-wise, the size of the race, and just give us some of your thoughts.
1997, it has changed a lot. Back then, there were only about 40 people running in the race. To be honest, I hadn't heard of it. It was by another running friend, Bill Duff, who'd suggested that we do it, and unfortunately he got injured and he didn't run. But I'd done the training and I thought, right, I'm going to do it. At that time, I'd only previously done 7 ultras, so it was my 8th ultra. The longest prior to that was the 36-mile road race. So it was a huge leap into the unknown. I hadn't really done an awful lot of trail running. I'd done the Speyside Way 50k. How many times? That was 4 times, I think. So again, not a huge amount of experience on trails either. And at that time, the internet hadn't even been invented. There wasn't the information. So I really didn't have a clue what I was getting into. But a lot of my memories when I'm running on the West Highland Way do go back to that very, very first time. It was the very few runners. I was on my own a lot. And I kind of felt, this whole trail is mine. And it's so different now. There's been a lot of path improvements, which is quite good. But, there was like sort of jumping on floating logs or through a swamp. And, that nowadays you've got little bridges and wee step ladders and things. So it's the path isn't easy, but it's there's no crocodiles now with the slopes and things like that. But I think it was perhaps a little bit more challenging underfoot than it is now. But as I say, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay. In that race. No, go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say there weren't very many ladies running then at that time. That first race, from memory, I think there was maybe four ladies running in it. I can't remember. I'm looking at Fiona. I can't remember. But not very many ladies, and not an awful lot of men either. But it was just I remember one of the sort of the really nice memories I have was going through, and again, I didn't really know the route particularly well at that point. I think it was just past Riverdale, and I'm going through the trees. It was early morning. The birds were singing, and I just thought, this is lovely. Another sort of 20 odd hours later, and I'm sort of shambling along, ladding wherever. I don't know if I'd have thought that at the same time, but the first time took me 34 hours. But yeah, it was a massive achievement at the time.
Yeah. So I've got your time there. You were 34 hours and 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So well done on that first one.
Yes.
But
I tend to forget about minutes and seconds. I kind of call it hours now.
Yeah. Well, it was just over 34, so that's good. So after that race, were you really keen to do it again, or some people, they do it and that's it. They've done it once, but obviously you've gone on to do 10 and all these ultras. But so was it always the thought, I want to do better?
Well, yeah. I mean, having done it that first time, I then did it again the following year in '98 because I thought, right, I've learned such a lot. I can put some of that into practice. And that second year, I think I knocked something like 7 hours off the time. And again, that was just the experience from what I'd learned from the first year.
Yeah. And then you did it for a number of years, didn't you? And I've seen your times, they're all on the website there. They're all, they're sort of quite consistent. And then in 2002, you actually you won the race, didn't you? You won the ladies' race.
Yes, I did. Yes.
That was in 27 hours 27. So again, have you got some good memories of that one? Was it a tussle with somebody, or were you on your own again?
No, not really. I think from memory that was a very wet year, and I don't know if I was kind of just like last woman standing,
Yeah.
Yes, that was the year. There was myself and my other club mate, Lynn Kaz. She finished as well. Was that the year there was only 11 finishers? And there was only 2 ladies who completed, and that was myself and Lynn finished. So that was one of those biblical years, I think.
Yeah. And I'm sure in the time you've ran it, you must have had all sorts of weathers, from heat waves to the biblical weather of the rain and the storms.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, from a heat wave. The years kind of blur. I don't have that memories from such and such a year. A lot of the memories that have stuck are from the first year, and then the other years, it's like, it was one of the years. But yeah, there's some really hot years. There's been kind of like hailstones and thunder and lightning. Running along the Larrick Moor with Lynn, and it was thunder and lightning. I think Lynn was crew that year, and I was sort of thinking, well, at least she's taller than me. The lightning will get her. But we saw it. I think was that '98. I think coming round. We'd gone up Devil Staircase, and we could see the lightning from a distance, and it was kind of circling round. And it was coming round, and then it hit us, and it just whoomph. We couldn't have been better if we didn't. A bucket of water had been chucked at us. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. And then the next race I wanted to pick out was in 2008, and that was your personal best, and it was quite a few hours quicker. It was 22 hours 01:42. So again, was that a particular year that you just went for it, or you were fitter, or give us a bit of a story of that one?
Yeah, I mean, the year before, I'd done, I think it was 23 hours 19, so I'd broken to 24, and I aimed, I thought, right, could I get 23? So 22 hours and 1 minute, yeah, that was like 59 minutes inside the target, so that went quite well. Again, it was one of those years where everything went right, the weather was good, I was fit, and was moving really nicely the whole way. And I think from, was it King's House, I then kind of thought, right, I can get this. I can get a really good time here, and just sort of motored on. I remember getting at the top of Devil Staircase. I think for the last sort of 20 odd miles, I was on Coca-Cola, chocolate, and coffee.
Right.
And I just motored the whole way, and it was also still daylight, and that was a big thing going over Larrigmore. I was with my friend Pauline Walker. She was running with me at that section, and I was really pushing it, and I couldn't believe how quickly I felt I was running. And she actually sort of tried to sort of give a wee word of caution just in case the wheels fell off. And I remember saying, look, no, I'm going to push it, I'm going to work hard, I'm just going to go for it, and if the wheels fall off, so be it. And so I really worked hard on that last sort of section, and I wanted to get in without having to use the torch. It was chasing the daylight, and I think that's why I worked so hard in that last sort of 10 miles or so. Yes, when we got to Lindenbrad, it was a wee bit dim, but I didn't want to put my torch on. It's not dark. It's not dark yet. I'm still going, and finished in Fort William just on 11 o'clock. And at that time of year, it's not dark. It was sort of dusk, but it wasn't dark. So that was my aim, to get in before it got dark. So yeah. I think that was one of the things that kind of just was able to keep me focused on just pushing hard and just keeping moving. Yeah. The Coke and chocolate,
Yeah. It's amazing how these times that they can just give us that extra motivation, can't they, to aim for something and to push on when it starts to hurt. Yeah. Then,
because again, I always kind of know when it gets dark, your energy dips, and you do slow down just because it's dark and you can't see. So that was why I thought gamble and push it and just get as far as I can. If the dark gets me, I'll just have to slow down. But it was like I was going as hard as I could until the dark got me, and I got to the pub.
Yeah.
Just
well done.
Good shot.
And then the last one I just wanted to pick out was the last one that you did in 2012. That was 27 hours 42. So again, that was the last one you did. So that's quite a few years ago. So is that going to be the last one, or how come you've not run the last few years?
Well, never say never. The last few years, because I'd done the last 5 in a row, and prior to that I'd done maybe 2 in a row, took a couple of years off, 2 in a row, take some time off. But the last 5 was 5 in a row, and I thought I need a wee break from that. And I've been supporting Fiona all this time, and I quite like that as well. And as I say, my new toy at the moment is the Great Glen, because I'm still enjoying doing that. Right. But and I've also suggested to Fiona, maybe we could swap, and she could do the Great Glen and I'll do the West Island Way, and she could crew for me, and then I can do her spot at the Great Glen. But we'll wait and see. But never say never.
Yeah, because that 2012, that was your 10th, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And I think you were the first female, weren't you? Yeah, and you were the first female to reach 10, weren't you?
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah.
So that's a great achievement, isn't it? So well done on that one. Okay, so I think we'll move on to these questions. I'll get these up on my iPad here. So it's always good to get other people's questions and what they want to hear. So we'll just work our way through these. Just finally, here we go. So the first one was from Ian Garnett, and he said, "Huge respect to Pauline, amazing achievement. My question would be, what is her secret to longevity in this sport and not burning out early?"
I would say listen to your body. It will let you know if there's something not right. And I heard somebody talking, and it was actually Glenn Ogle, say, push through the pain. And I'm thinking, no, don't push through the pain, tippy-toe around it. And, because I think, if your body's telling you something, there's, this bit's achy or that bit, listen to it, deal with it, and allow time for rest and recovery. I think some people nowadays get a wee bit number happy with, I've got my weekly mileage target to reach, and they do that come hell or high water. If you're feeling a little bit off or a little bit tired, don't, maybe I've been always sort of quite relaxed about, hang on a minute, that's a bit too heavy, I'm just going to take it easy today. The next day I'm feeling fine again. So yeah, rest and recovery is a very important part of your training programme, and I think sometimes that might be a little bit neglected in some people.
Yeah. So in that 20 years, have you had many bad injuries?
Not really. I've a little bit of lower back stiffness, nothing major. I had an Achilles problem in 2005. I've had a grumpy Achilles this year, but it hasn't stopped me running. As I say, I can tippy-toe around it. So it's sort of ease back on the intensity. But no, nothing that's put me on the sidelines really. So that's touch wood, that's been fine.
Yeah. And as far as races go, are you someone who likes to do less races and do them the best of your ability, or are there other times where you've done lots of races knowing that the quality is not as good?
Yeah, both. I mean, earlier on, a few years ago, I was quite specific and I would be quite focused and I'd be going for performances. Now it's, this year and last year I've become a little bit of a race junkie, but it's more about, my attitude has changed a little bit as well, whereas I know I'm not going to get the times without putting the training in that I have done. So I'm on a sort of a grand day out kind of ideology, where I'm out with friends, I'm out in the sunshine and I'm taking it easier. I've got my little hip flask and just having a good day out. Yeah,
great. Well, it's obviously worked for you, isn't it? Because you've, I think to still be running strongly 20 years later is a great achievement. George Firmage says, what's 3 biggest changes that you've seen over the years in ultra running? You can have more if you want, but he's asked for 3 of the biggest changes.
Certainly there's more people. There's a lot more people running now. There's a lot more races. Certainly the first sort of 10 years when I was doing ultras, there was maybe 3 or 4 ultras. Now, oh my goodness, there's 20s. I don't know how many ultras there are in the calendar now. But yeah, there weren't that very many ultras. There's certainly a lot more to choose from now. And there's a lot more people doing it, and there's a lot more ladies running, which is really nice, and I'm pleased to see that.
Yeah. What about sort of changes with sense of getting places? I know when you started, you could get a place a week or 2 before the West Highland Way if you wanted to. Now we have a ballot and there's lots more entries. So is that something you've seen a big change?
Oh yes, forgetting about that. Yeah, back in the day, there's you would fill out a form, write a check, put a stamped address envelope in the post, and a week later your number would come in, and you'd even enter 1 or 2 weeks beforehand. The ultra running is kind of a little bit a victim of its own success, because I do get a little bit fed up with the stampede to enter races. It's a race before the race, and you've got to enter very early now. And some, you don't know what level of fitness you're going to have in spring next year. Fingers crossed you're going to be fine. So, you're having to commit very early. Whereas before you could wait and see and thinking, actually, I'm feeling good, I'll enter this race. I think it's a good, healthy environment now. You've got a lot of people, and there's a lot of support, and there's a lot of really good races out there. there's a lot of new ones as well. There's even this year there's some new ones coming out.
Yeah, I think I looked somewhere in Scotland alone. There's over 35, maybe even 40 now, which is incredible, isn't it? Yeah, and you keep hearing about races that I hadn't even heard about, and then suddenly they're being run, and so there's certainly a big choice. Yeah. The next question is from Annette Florzak. Annette has done the West Highland Way a couple of times from America. I don't know if you met her when she came over, but she was asking how many years it's taken you to get to 100, and how much rest do you take post event?
What did you say? My first one was 93. So what's that, 24? 24 years. It's taken 24 years to do that. But I would maybe average about 4 or 5 ultras in a year. So it's it's just the last few years I've kind of crammed them in.
Yeah.
The rest afterwards, I mean, something like the West Highland Way, I would take a full month off, dead easy. Just do absolutely nothing. Maybe go for a walk, or maybe a gentle jog, or a little bit of a bimble kind of thing after a couple of weeks, just making sure everything's okay. And then the second month after that, just easing back gently into it. I think people underestimate how much that can take out of you, something like that. If you haven't done it before, I mean, obviously if you've done it before, your recovery is quicker, but my goodness, that first time when I did the West Highland Way, I could walk for a week, never mind go into a park run the next day or something.
Okay, excellent. John Cassidy wants to know about nutrition. What's been good, bad, and downright awful for Pauline?
Good. Well, I've been drinking ginger beer for many years now, and that's my stalwart of fluid. I'll take the fizz out of it and I'll dilute it with water. In the summer, maybe half and half, half ginger beer, half water. In the winter, a slightly stronger ginger beer mix because it's warming. Ginger beer is also a natural anti-inflammatory, so it's not banned, and it's very good in your stomach. So it's a good all-round drink. There's sugar in it, as well. So I've been drinking that for, oh my goodness, 20 odd years. So in drop bags, or I used to have little bottles of ginger beer in there. The ginger beer is a very positive thing that I've used in the past. On big races, I like real food, sort of soup or pasta. The 48-hour race I did, the British Ultra Fest, a lot of time, you're going around a 400-metre track, so I would get cups of tea and chocolate digestives. So that kept me going a while. Yeah. But for shorter races, I still like Sweeties, Twix bars, macaroon bars, fudge, that kind of thing. I have used gels in the past, but it's only because I get them in a goodie bag at the end. I don't go out and buy them. Downright awful. I remember I've had crisps once and I spat them out. I didn't like them. I didn't like the crisps. It was almost it just didn't work at all. But there's things that have been really good in a race, and then you use it again, another race, and then I thought, oh no, I didn't like that. So it's you kind of mix and match, I suppose. Have
you found as well that sometimes a food works in one race, and then you try it in another race, and for whatever reason it doesn't agree with you?
Yeah. I remember doing a 100k one time, and it was rice pudding. It was great. It was fab. So then the next time doing another race, and I was just like a mouthful, and I'm thinking, no, that's not working. And then I end up having to get something else. But I mean, your body can be different one day to another day, so it's not a machine. You can't just keep putting the same old oil in. Yeah. We've got to, it might have a grump and sort of think, no, I'm not having that. I'll have something else. Yeah. You didn't have, very similar to shot blocks. I used to, in the early days, have jelly cubes. And you just chop them into little bits. In fact, Fiona probably reminded me there was one time I was perhaps a little bit fussy when I wanted half a jelly cube. Yeah, I couldn't bite it and spit the other half out, of course. I just wanted half of one. But anyway.
Yeah. Actually, John also says, I'd like to state, Pauline is one of those people who typify ultra running, unassuming and humble, always a kind word of encouragement for all. Congratulations on the 100, Pauline, and here's to many more. So, and I'm sure lots of people would echo that as well. So that's lovely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Lois Simpson says, if you're going through a tricky time or a race, how do you keep going if things get a bit hard? Because I've only ever seen you smiling, and so she's not seen you in a grump. But if you do have a tough time, have you got tactics to get through that?
Yeah, the kind of thing is, I mean, I'm there because I want to be there, and if I'm a little bit wet or I'm a little bit cold or a little bit tired, well, big deal. There's a lot of worse things going on at sea, as they say, and I'm very lucky to be there, to be able to do what I want to do. Okay, right now in this minute I'm not happy, but at the end of it, give me an hour and it'll be past. It'll be over. So don't dwell on how cold and miserable I am. Think about your reward at the end, whether it's a pint of beer or a nice warm jumper or just look at the sunrise or wait for the sunrise and enjoy it when it comes.
Yeah.
But I think just being very positive. Always look for that silver lining. It might be just getting that stone out your shoe. Great. Just being positive, I think. There's no point in being miserable because that's not going to make you quicker.
Yeah. It's amazing if you can have that positive attitude, isn't it? The difference it makes, I think, physically. Whereas if you're negative, that really does start to affect you, doesn't it?
Yeah. But, because you end up going down a sort of like a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And it's, get people, I don't like this, I don't want to be here. Well, go home then. Stop. Get in the car. I'm not always jolly all the time, but it's just you chose to be here. Get on with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not very sympathetic either.
No, a great attitude. Yeah. Now we've got a good question from Andy Jump. He wants to know he says, how do you manage to keep finishing ahead of Fiona? But Noni actually said that Fiona's beaten you a few times, and she wants to know, do you keep a tally? So when you do races together, have you got a bit of a tally going between you?
Well, no, we haven't actually. Yeah, I think Fiona's had better performances at Glenmore, I think, in general. But yeah, when we've been running together, we tend to, we're quite happy to run together, or we may just do our own thing, or somebody stops, the other one keeps going. If you catch up, fine. If you don't catch up, well, that's it, sort of thing. But no, there's not actually a tally.
Right.
But yeah, if I'm behind her, I like to try and keep an eye on her and try and catch up.
Yeah.
I think I'm more competitive than Fiona.
Okay. I must admit, I watched you in the Dunoon Ultra because Katrina was running, and I think you finished just ahead, but Fiona was closing quickly, I think, wasn't she?
Yes, have you seen the photos?
I know, that's right.
She looked like sorry, she looked like she'd been wrestling a bear. She'd fallen over and used her face as a stopping block or something.
That's right. She came in with blood pouring down a lip, didn't she?
But yeah, if she hadn't fallen over, she might have been even closer.
But he was also asking, apart from your medal for Scotland, what would you say was your greatest ultra achievement and why?
That stands out very easily for me is my performance at the Perth was it the Ultra Fest, the 24 Hours in 2008.
Right.
Where personal best for me at that time, well, it still is, 130 miles in 24 hours. Which was a Scottish record at the time. I also set on the way to that 2 other Scottish records, which again was 100 miles in 17 hours and 10 or 11 minutes or something. and then 200k in 23 hours and I can't remember however many minutes. But and then first lady. But I was also second overall, so I was in front of a few of the chaps, which I was quite chuffed with as well.
Yeah, well done. No, that's impressive. Okay, and then John Munro wants to know, what was your best West Highland weight and what made the difference that year?
We've already spoken about it. Would have been the year when I did the 22 hours again, just because the weather was right, I was fit, and I managed to stay in daylight, and my eating was fine. But yeah, I mean, it just also, I mean, I was only out for 22 hours, so it was easier. These folk that do it in like 14 hours and 13 hours, wherever, they're like part-timers, so yeah, I have to say, the 22 hours was a lot easier than the 34 hours.
Yeah. And he's also intrigued to know whether you get fed up of being called Fiona.
Well, no, I'm used to it. I answer to Fiona actually, and Fiona answers to Pauline. Right. So we've been called inter whatever's all our days. Yeah.
I always find it very helpful when you run with the names on your vest, because then you've got a chance then.
Yeah, Fiona got those made specially for when we did the 48-hour race, because she wasn't sharing any of her laps with me.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. Yeah. And then Daniela Ua wants to know, what was your first race and how did you end up running ultramarathons? So I think you mentioned that a bit, but I don't know whether you want to add anything.
Yeah, my first race was 1986, 87, Fiona's nodding. Which was a 10-mile race in Kirkcaldy. And that was we planned to do Dunfermline half marathon. That was going to be our first half marathon. And this was a sort of little stepping stone, a little training run for it. I mean, we didn't have short races, you didn't have 5Ks, you didn't have 10Ks or park runs. You didn't have all these nice little easy stepping stones. It was a 10-mile race. And then into the half marathon, and yeah, so that was, I can't even remember how long it took us, but it was a very small field. It was about 20 or 30 guys, me and Fiona, and then the guys disappeared off, and I think the guy with the clipboard was waiting for us at the end when we finished, so it was it was nice of him to wait for us.
Excellent. Neil Scott would like to know, what changes have you noticed from the first to the last West Highland Way race? We've covered a little bit of that, but in particular kit used, and also in the organisation.
Yeah, kit used. Well, I've still got the same bag. It's a low alpine bag with a hole for your bottle and then 2 pockets either side. So it's stood the test of time. I still use that.
Wow.
You've got, well, nowadays, I mean, even before you had bum bags, when I was doing training runs, I didn't even know you had things like that. I used to drive round a route, plant bottles in the bushes, run round, and then, drive round again and collect the empties. So, a bum bag was quite innovative at the time. So, and yeah, what do you call them nowadays, race vests, they're really good. Yeah. Where you can have everything, bottles and stuff. So that's quite handy. Yeah. And being able to carry things with you. Waterproofs and things, they seem to have come on a lot better. It was kind of like a bin bag with sleeves before. Whereas, you get all this sort of technical stuff now. But even then, I've got assorted different waterproofs, and I tend not to wear one unless I want to keep warm. I'm not too bothered about trying to keep dry, because if you're out a long time, you're not really going to stay dry. As long as you stay warm, that's the important thing. Yeah.
What about shoes? Have you seen a big change in what you wore, footwear-wise?
Not really. I've kind of stuck to Nike and Saucony. The Saucony for kind of off-road stuff, Nike for road stuff. It's certainly a lot more expensive now. And I just buy last year's colours, so it's it's fine. And I've kind of stuck to the same, so I haven't tried Hokas or anything like that. So I just that old adage about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm sticking to the old tried and tested that have suited me over the years.
Yeah. And he also wants to know what's your funniest and darkest moments during the West Highland Way race.
Oh, crumbs. Funniest. Oh, yes. Fiona's just reminded me of... Well, I didn't find it funny at the time, but yes, it was my second year of doing the West Highlands Way, and I was ahead of schedule. And coming into Rowerdenan, and I'm looking for my crew, because I'm thinking, right, I want my bottle of ginger beer, and I want my bit of sorry malt loaf or whatever it was at the time. I couldn't find them. And I thought I was getting a wee bit, have to take the dogs for a walk, or where are we? And then I thought, there's the van. Wee peek in the window. Oh, they're all asleep. I'll just give them a wee bang. Ding, 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 ding. Not realising how loud that was in the van. And Simon actually jumped out, sorted me, and I'm thinking, right, that's fine, thank you. And off I went. And afterwards, Fiona said she was traumatised and felt a bit unwell. On the road, on the other side of the law. But maybe I hit the van a bit more heartily than I thought I was. I didn't have mobile phones in those days, so I got there when I got there. It was none of this get the kettle on kind of thing. Darkest moments. Nothing's really springing to mind. Again, one of the other changes that you had was in the early days the race started at 3 o'clock in the morning rather than 1 o'clock. So you were most definitely, unless you're super duper fast, going through a second night. And I remember getting, again, it was at the second year, not allowing enough time and just coming off Rannoch Moor without a torch. With a friend, and we were fine, but you kind of thought, oh, that was a wee bit of a mistake. We survived, But we actually had a bit of a scare where we could see something in the distance and couldn't really see what it was, and it wasn't, that was daft. Is that like a ghost or something? I thought, nah. And I said to Lynn, could you see that? And she went, oh, yes, I can. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what is it? And it was a blooming windsock, as you come into the White Quarries, or the Glencoe Ski Centre, they call it now. And just without a torch, not seeing that, just thing flapping about, and you thought, oh, crumbs. But nothing, I mean, that was kind of a sort of a funny thing as well. But, I'd never been down a big black hole in the head or anything like that.
Hold up. We've got a question from Brenda Dixon. She's asking, have you ever had a personal trainer, or are you just super dedicated to your own plan? Self-coached. What was Tim Noakes' Lore of Running? It was a bit of a Bible back in the day, and that was dipped into that a few times as well, just getting some good advice. Because again, I mean, you just read books, you subscribed to Runner's World or Running World, whatever it was, and you'd read up about what other people were doing and maybe do that or try these things. Again, another thing, a slight difference as well, is that because there's so much information available, I think people kind of lose confidence to try something. It's like they put a question out, I was going to say, when should I wear my sunglasses? Yeah. I mean, for heaven's sakes. But, just be willing to try something. Give it a go. Don't ask the next person. If you fancy doing something, do it. Yeah. Good. Well done. Julie Marshall is a bit more interested in the future. What are your future running goals? And is there any race that you have not yet done that you would like to?
Future running goals. I would just like to keep going. I think I might be a little bit more specific about what races I do next year, although I've already entered a few. Something I haven't done, which I would like to do, is the Medic Marathon, or Medoc Marathon, the wine one. I quite fancy doing that. Getting some friends out and give that a bash.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions from Amanda Hamilton and Stuart McFarlane about will you ever do the West Hallam Way again, and what attracted you to ultras, but I think we've answered those. But Gavin Harvey wants to know, who is the best post-ultra Ceilidh dancer, Donald or Craig?
It's like, well, Donald was at the last Ceilidh I was at. Craig wasn't, so I'll have to say Donald.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that'll make him happy. Yeah. And then we've got two more questions to finish before we do the quick fire ones. And Amanda Hamilton says, what's your favourite section of the West Hallam Way and your favourite West Hallam Way memory?
Favourite section is kind of, it's like, I like the bit I'm on. Oh, I like this bit. Oh, I like this bit. It might be easier to say the bits I don't like. I don't like going the descent down into Kinlochleven. I sort of think, just the zip wire, get right across and miss that bit out. I think that's the only bit I don't like, is the descent into Kinlochleven. I like all the other bits. Yeah. I like the Loch Lomond section. That's nice.
Yeah. And have you got a favourite memory? What is anything that stand out above all others?
A favourite memory. I think not so much one of my own West Highland Ways, but running with Fiona last year, and we all finished with tutus on. I thought that was good. We decided on having tutus because it's, if everybody's got a midget on, it's hard to see to identify. So I thought, if we have these tutus, we can sort of say, oh, that's Fiona can see us from a distance. That's where we are. And we did the last little bit with Fiona as a bit of a, an entourage with all our tutus on, and that was good fun.
Yeah. And then she also wants to know, between you and Fiona, who is the easiest to crew for?
Yeah. I asked our crew that question on Saturday night because we were out having a bit of a social, and they said it was a difficult one to answer. It was almost like, which child do you love the most? You couldn't really answer the question. Right. So I don't know.
That's fine. And then the last one we got on Facebook, Lon Chock, says, if you could only run one more ultra, which one of the 100 would you return to, and why that one?
That's a difficult choice. It would be between the West Highland Way or the Great Glen. Done the West Highland Way 10 times, so the Great Glen I've done 4. So I would have to maybe say the Great Glen, just because I haven't done it as many times as the West Highland Way. There's still bits in there that still feel quite new. So I'll go with the Great Glen.
Okay, excellent. And then I just want to finish with these quick fire questions, and I've asked these for lots of different people on these podcasts, and I think it just gives a little bit of a flavour of some of the preferences that you have, and this is particularly for the West Hallam Way race. Okay, so shoes, would you wear road or trail shoes?
Both.
Right, okay.
I'd change them.
Oh, right, okay. And is that a regular thing you would change at the same place?
Yeah, road shoes for the early part, and then trail shoes maybe from Rowerdene and on.
Okay. And then you just stick with trail shoes for the rest of the route?
Yeah.
Okay. Your favourite food to keep you going? When energy levels are low, what's your turn to?
Twix.
Twix. Okay, excellent. Would you run with a hydration pack or water bottles?
The hydration pack.
Right, okay. And would you just drink water, or do you like an energy drink?
Ginger beer.
Ginger beer, yeah. I'm going to try that, actually. That sounds a good one. Is that fizzy you have, or still?
No, let it go flat and then just put water to taste. It depends if you like your ginger beer strong or watery.
Right.
Just as much as you like.
Okay, well, that's a good tip from an ultra expert. Would you take extra salt tablets?
No, never. I'd never take salt. Yeah, it's like drinking the sea. If I do have anything salty, it's those cheese tuck sandwiches.
Yep.
And that's just, I mean, if there's salt in stuff that's already, like in soup or pasta, there's already salt in there. I'd never add salt, and I don't take salt tablets.
Right. Okay. Do you run with a watch or with a GPS device, or do you have nothing on your wrist?
I wear a watch, and it just kind of tells me the time of day, it tells me how long I've been out. I train with a Garmin, and it just kind of collates the information for looking at later. But yeah, certainly in races, I don't wear a Garmin. In fact, somebody said to me quite recently, "What sort of battery life does your watch have?" And I said, about 7 years.
Brilliant. Your support crew, would you have one or two teams for the West Highland Way?
Pretty much one team, but you have reinforcements arriving round about Tyne Drums, so you've got like a fresh head, just adding to the gang.
Yeah. Okay. And do you listen to music or podcasts or anything, or do you like to have nothing in your ears?
I have listened to music, but more on the 24-hour races,
right.
Or the wee hours of the morning when, if you're doing laps, you've seen the scenery already. So yeah, music helps in the sort of wee hours. But if West Highland Way or any of the trail runs, I don't use music because just the surroundings is music enough.
Yeah. Excellent. Have you got a favourite mantra to keep you going?
Yes. There's one I can say, and there's another one I can't. But the one I can say, I just keep telling myself, head up, shoulders back, and relax. And I always breathe out when I say relax, and it just, or energy, breathing in the energy and the fatigue out, using my breath on that one.
Right.
Another one's just a repetitive sweetie word.
Right, okay. Again, good advice there. Have you got something you look forward to most when you finish the West Highland Way?
Oh, yes. I usually have like a wee can of beer and a packet of salted peanuts, although I don't really eat salt, but I'll have, I specifically have salty peanuts for afterwards, but I wouldn't have them during the race. But yeah, can of beer and some salty peanuts.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, have you got a final tip for anyone who's thinking of doing the West Highland Way race?
Just to relax and enjoy it. I mean, certainly if it's your first time, throw the watch out the window. 35-hour time limit is loads. Don't worry too much about time. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so Pauline, you finished 100 ultras. Have you got plans to try and do another 100, or have you got a limit? Have you got a target in mind?
No. I'm actually doing another one on Saturday. Right. Sunday. And I'm blaming Fiona, and Fiona's blaming Colin Knox. He put a link up about the River Tweed or Tweed Valley Ultra. Fiona said, "Oh, that sounds nice." And I'm thinking, well, Fiona's doing it, I'll do it as well. So I'll need to sort of find it. It's near Peebles somewhere. So we're going to do that on Sunday. But after that, I'm going to have a little rest, and then next year I'll keep going. The Great Glen, doing the fling, various other bits and bobs. But yeah, might not do quite as many as I've done this year, but I just keep doing what I can.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you so much for tonight. It's been great to speak to you and just to catch up on some of the races you've done and some of your memories. And I'm sure there's lots of little tips in there that will help people. And I think it's folks like yourself and Fiona who've been involved in ultra running for so long that just help those that have only come into it in the last year or two, just to get a sense of the history of it in some ways. You're very much in part of the history of the West Highland Way. And we really appreciate that. So it's great that you're still there and still doing it.
Oh, well, thanks very much, John. And I also want to say as well, thank you very much to all the lovely comments that have been on Facebook and whatever. I mean, I didn't expect all the sort of media kerfuffle, to be honest. But it's been lovely, and people have been really nice, and it's just thought, if I could do it, other folk can, but thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I think it's appreciated, and I say people just enjoy, and I think for those of us who've done a few, to think, wow, to do 100, it's a great achievement. So, no, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you do many more, and we'll cheer you on. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Great, thank you very much.
Cheers.